Morning at NTV, and today we're going to be talking about traders downtown. And if you're a business person, do you have your business insured? If not, why? Is the question that you should be asking yourself. And maybe right after this conversation you will definitely want to be able to get an insurance policy for your business, because as it stands yesterday, several traders did lose their merchandise in a fire in one of the downtown buildings while it was closed. Now also before that, it is a story that we hear day in day out, a number of traders losing their businesses to fires that got them overnight, and some unexplained. But you think, well, let's start from scratch. But how about you get insurance? We'll be getting into that conversation this morning right now, and we are joined by Mr. Maurice Amugola from the Insurance Brokers Association Uganda. Welcome to Morning at NTV.
Thank you, and thank you viewers. Welcome.
You're welcome. All right, okay, so we're getting into that conversation, but let's just start with this. You live in the country and you know that the standoff that is there between the quote-unquote landlords, in their case downtown, and the traders. What's your take on this?
Of course, the challenge is that the landlords want to charge their rent, and the tenants want to be able to pay that affordable rent. Then there's the issue of whether it should be in dollars or whether it should be in Uganda shillings. The key is just to be able to agree on the best way to meet halfway in terms of expectations of each part of the contracting parties.
Okay. But you also do have, traders who are saying, but we did pay rent to this person, and now we're having a new person who is claiming for the same rent.
Yeah, just like insurance, there is always a contract between a tenant and a landlord. I think the current situation we are having is that there seem to be ownership challenges on some of these properties, and this has to be resolved because tenants are victims of a situation which is not their own.
Right.
Now let's go into the fact that I did talk about fire earlier, but insurance doesn't only cover fire, but it covers so many other things such as theft. Getting into what options a business person within Uganda right now, a trader, what options of insurance could they have on the table for them?
Yeah, of course I work for Minet Insurance, which is one of the insurance broking firms in Uganda. Tomorrow we are having a conference which is basically strategizing on insurance penetration. We are seeking a lot of people to come and be with us in the conference. CASITA, the Ministry of Finance, all ministries, parastatals, the business community. Whereas it's an invite-only event, we are going to follow up this conference with discussions with various parties in various sectors so that we can make insurance accepted by the public. So a trader can have a number of insurances that they can put together to cover their assets and risks.
Right.
A trader downtown will most likely import merchandise from Europe. So this merchandise stands the risk of damage while in the ships or while in air, right from wherever it is, India, US, parts of Europe, right up to Kampala. So they take what we call marine insurance. That will cover the transit risk. Then this merchandise, once you put it in your shop or you put it in your factory, it is susceptible to other risks. The risks of fire, the risks of burglary, the risks of theft when stolen by other people, and all this can be insured through arrangement by through your insurance broker to an insurance company.
Okay. Now, as we speak of insurance, just to bring in the traders on this conversation, we are being joined by Issa Sechito, who is the spokesperson of CASITA, wondering why the traders are not jumping onto insurance. Good morning, Issa.
Hello, good morning, my dear.
We'll start with a conversation of why are traders not being and embracing insurance?
It's a big question and a big challenge because really you can be surprised that you see many traders riding very expensive vehicles, holding businesses of billions and millions, holding houses, even shipment of goods. They decided to pay a 1.5 CIF value to Uganda Revenue Authority, while they have not insured even goods at sea. All this is attributed to a number of factors. One, they have a weak and a negative perception of insurance because they think insurance is so bureaucratic and is moving alongside lawyers. So if you don't have a lawyer, if you don't have a consultant, even if you have a policy, an insurance cover, you might not be successful. That's a perceptual thing. Two, the insurance of late has woken up, especially the Insurance Regulatory Authority. But previously, very little campaign was being done by the insurance companies to come downtown, so people thought it is for the very, very, very big and the land people. Three, the people that do have the goods, do have the businesses, don't think that small businesses can be insured. They only think that insurance is for multinational companies, and this is something that needs to be removed out of their thinking at the business community. So, a number of other factors are there, but the biggest challenge or the biggest undoing for business people joining insurance companies is to think that insurance companies, you pay money, and if you don't have lawyers and consultants, you might not be successful in being compensated.
Right. Okay. Issa, before we let you go, one other thing is, what are you telling traders as Casita? Is there any effort to push the traders to actually be a part of the insurance policy?
We have pushed a lot of information in the meetings to an extent that today all members that are holding Casita cards are insured as far as their health is concerned. I don't want to mention the kind of the name of the insurance company that we are working with because I did not consult you before. But Casita has already gone into several memorandums of understanding with different insurance companies for people to insure their lives, for people to insure their small businesses, for people to insure their cars. Many people in the tax pack get 70, 50, 60 million to buy a Kamunye, and when that has an accident, that's the end of that person. We are trying to tell them, please, don't lose what you have already gotten. Okay. We are trying to do this. The only problem is that the perception, like I've told you, needs a lot more sensitization for them to know that what the insurance companies are talking is actually true.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your views. Thank you so much for, accepting to be part of our conversation this early morning, Mr. Issa Sechito, the spokesperson of Casita. Have a good day, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back to studios. He did say that perception number one, the reason as to why traders don't take up, insurance policies for their businesses, or they don't insure their businesses, so to speak, is because they also think it's expensive. So today, can we break that down? For example, you did point out that, most of the traders in downtown import their merchandise. And you talked of the transit insurance bit of things, marine insurance. How much, ideally, let's talk of the lowest level, how much would that cost? We have traders, business people who are watching us today. Let's just give them rough figures. If I'm to insure my cargo or my merchandise coming from outside the country, let's say, for example, China, bringing it to Uganda, how much would that cost me to ensure that, that marine insurance, to ensure that my goods, in the eventuality that there's anything that will make me lose my goods, that I'll get, a cover for that, I'll be compensated. How much are we talking about?
Different cargo attract different rates. So we have a developed tariff. If you are importing a machine, your rate would sit at probably 0.3% of that value, of course including VAT and stamp duty, to cover that cargo all the way from India to Kampala. If you are importing, say, maize, for example, assuming you are in the maize business or you are in cereals like wheat, the rate could sit roughly at about 0.3% of the value. Again, to import, to cover that goods from wherever it is to Kampala.
Is this a comprehensive cover?
That would be a comprehensive cover that covers damage. I just want to give you a small story, two stories that just complement this aspect. Recently, we have one client in the energy sector, and they were bringing in what you call turbines. So the same marine insurance. 2 turbines came, they were well. The 3rd turbine had been damaged by floods. You would know recently we've had devastating floods from through this problem in Mozambique, I think Zimbabwe and parts of Malawi. The loss to that client is 800,000 euros. An insurance company will pay that because that turbine has to go back to India, repaired so that it can be able to produce power for this country. And he had insured that turbine against the risk of flooding, the risk of damage while it was in transit from India to here in Kampala. So these things happen, and in 2017, the insurance industry paid claims worth 300 billion shillings to various clients who had various different accidents. The second story I want to give, we had a client who had a forex bureau, and this client was paying 3 million shillings per annum, and one of his contracts was just about to expire, but he had a small balance of 100,000 shillings to pay, so that then we could renew another contract. And we kept on going to this client and said, please pay so that we can start off another new contract. For one reason or the other, this 100,000 was not coming. I think sometimes people say, I will pay tomorrow, I'll sort out, but somehow things just don't work. Come the normal festivities of December and the normal fireworks, of course, thieves take advantage. So during those festivities and because of the fireworks, this lady had locked money in her safe in that particular forex bureau somewhere in around Pioneer Mall. Believe you or me, thugs broke in, 100 million shillings was stolen. Gone. Evidence is there, everything can be seen that it was outside interference, but 100,000 made this lady not be able to claim 100 million.
But Mr. Morris, let me ask you this question. I mean, she just had a deficit of 100K. She's been faithful with paying her premiums.
True.
Why didn't she benefit? Why didn't you move ahead to cover her? Just because of a deficit of 100K?
You see, for you to get an insurance policy, there's consideration called premium. In fact, the law has now changed. In Uganda now, you must pay for your premium before your insurance can take effect. Before you get some element of credit. Now there is no longer credit because a number of us have been defaulting, and then insurers then will not have the capacity to pay, because if you don't pay premium, then they will not have premium to accumulate together to be able to pay your claim. So the law has changed. But you can see the consideration. If she had paid the 100,000, we would have then started another contract worth 3 million shillings, which was her annual premium. But because we could not finish this old contract, she lost 100 million.
Then, within this conversation earlier on, Mr. Sechito did mention something that besides perception from the traders is also the fact that insurance brokers, when it comes to downtown, they don't seem to show up there. Personally, I have been in a hospital, they have come to me to talk about insurance. I've been in a supermarket, they have come to me to talk about insurance. Who is going to talk to these traders about insurance and the options they have, and telling them even the story that you've just told us of what you can stand to lose if you don't pay this amount of money?
The Insurance Brokers Association of Uganda is composed of 40 companies. We employ about 700 staff in these various companies. We have already clients that we are serving, but one of the agendas that we have is to increase penetration, and that's why we are having the conference tomorrow, to sit and strategize on how we can increase insurance and also how we can increase acceptance of insurance, because there is one thing to make awareness, there's another thing for people to accept that yes, insurance is important and strategic. So we are having this conference tomorrow. It's an invite only conference. We will be able to offer 2 invites to any member of the public if you can answer 1 or 2 questions from the 2 beautiful ladies, just to enable us to appreciate that it's important that people understand insurance and can be good ambassadors.
So what's this conference? Let's talk about it for a bit.
The conference is Insurance Strategy Brokers Agenda. That's the theme of the conference, which will be graced by the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Uganda, and it starts from 8:30 a.m. and will run all the way up to 2 p.m.
All right. Mr. Morris, you're having a question as you come to a close. I just want you to answer this, in 1 minute or less. Someone is asking, and she's saying, the reason as to why I don't get into insurance is because I will pay all my monthly premiums, faithfully, but when I have a crisis or my business is not doing well and I'm not able to pay up, then all my premiums go to waste. I'd rather put in my premium money to better use. What's your take on that?
I think, again, just the same aspect, we're saying misconception. An insurance is a contract. You say that in case I get fire, I want you to compensate me. In case my goods are maliciously damaged, I want you to compensate me. In case, so the contract spells out the terms and conditions against which you can claim.
In case I'm unable to pay up my premiums, but I've been paying and maybe something has happened, do I lose the value of my premiums?
You see, risk will happen or might not happen. And premium, if it has to be pulled and it has to be used diligently. Different policies are put together for different risks. I'll give you an example. You can take an education policy for your child, which means it's a saving for 10 years. Now that saving will be there for you for paying education. And there are variations to that contract, because you can say, okay, maybe this child did not then pursue the education we wanted, we can now substitute it to another child.
Right.
But because insurance is a contract, the terms and conditions must be very clear, and that's why we brokers sit with our clients and explain the contracts that are put together.
All right.
So once we are happy with the contract, then you take the insurance.
Okay. All right, okay, so it's a tough conversation to have, insurance, but it's for your good, especially if you're in business. You don't want to lose all your merchandise, worth billions of shillings just because you didn't insure your business, yes? So let's have that conversation, and just in case you have more questions, they will be available. The conference is happening tomorrow. Of course, it's invite only, but they will make sure that they have a channel into which they can connect directly to you. Or just visit any insurance, pretty much office near you. Get all this information. It's very important. Let's secure our businesses this year. Thank you so much, Mr. Morris Amogola, from the Insurance Brokers Association of Uganda. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So that's it for our Take Note conversation. Keep your views coming. The hashtag is Morning Attentive across all the social media platforms. Don't move a muscle. I will be back with business updates.
Access